China is now facing one of the most dangerous and unprecedented weather events in its recent history. Typhoon Mitag, described by meteorologists as a monster storm, has pushed deep into the Chinese mainland after making landfall along the eastern coast. The storm, with its massive winds and torrential rains, is now unleashing catastrophic flooding across vast regions, threatening tens of millions of people and placing one of the world's most controversial megastructures, the Three Gorges Dam, under immense and dangerous pressure. Reports from state media and independent observers suggest that the situation is deteriorating rapidly. With floodwaters rising, emergency sirens sounding, and entire towns bracing for devastation. As Typhoon Mitag swept inland, its enormous size and slow-moving nature caused widespread destruction. Cities like Shanghai, Ningbo, and Hangzhou were battered by hurricane-force winds, leading to widespread power outages and building collapses. The storm then moved further inland, dragging a monstrous wall of water into the river systems that converge towards central China. This has placed unprecedented strain on the Yangtze River, the lifeline of the nation, and by extension, on the Three Gorges Dam itself, while Chinese officials continue to reassure the public that the dam remains secure. Social media posts from within the country paint a far grimmer picture: massive flooding, collapsing embankments, and the real fear that the dam could be pushed to its breaking point. The Three Gorges Dam, located in Hubei province, has long been touted by Beijing as an engineering marvel, a symbol of modern China's ability to control nature. But in times like this, it is also seen as a potential catastrophe waiting to happen. The dam holds back the world's largest reservoir, storing more than 39 billion cubic meters of water. Its collapse, even partial, would unleash unimaginable destruction downstream, wiping out cities such as Wuhan, Yichang, and even threatening Shanghai further east. With Typhoon Mitag continuing to dump historic levels of rainfall, water levels at the reservoir are reportedly climbing at alarming rates, leading to speculation about controlled discharges and emergency releases that could themselves cause devastating floods across already saturated regions. The storm's timing has made matters worse. Over the summer months, China had already endured a series of heavy rainfalls and regional floods, leaving soil and riverbanks weakened. Mitag's arrival has turned a precarious situation into a full-scale national crisis. Footage shared online shows entire highways disappearing beneath torrents of muddy water, bridges collapsing as rivers overflow, and desperate residents wading through chest-deep floods clutching children and whatever belongings they could carry. In some towns, the only sound that breaks the howling wind and pounding rain is the wail of emergency sirens and the cries of those calling for rescue. China's central government has reportedly deployed tens of thousands of troops from the People's Liberation Army to aid in rescue and disaster relief efforts. Helicopters are airlifting supplies to cut off communities, while boats have been mobilized to evacuate stranded families. But the sheer scale of the disaster means that relief efforts are stretched thin. Provinces like Jiangxi, Anhui, and Hunan are experiencing mass flooding, while provinces further north are bracing for the storm's remnants. For many Chinese citizens, the name Mitag will be forever associated with terror, destruction, and the reminder of how fragile even the most advanced systems are when nature unleashes its fury. International observers are closely watching the situation around the Three Gorges Dam. Satellite images show rising water levels upstream, with tributaries feeding into the Yangtze already at peak flood stages. Analysts warn that the pressure on the dam is now at one of the highest points in its history. Rumors circulate that emergency spillways have already been opened, with downstream residents reporting sudden surges of water without warning. Such releases, while preventing the dam from overtopping, could inundate entire cities and farmland, destroying livelihoods and forcing millions into displacement. The government has not fully confirmed the extent of these releases, but eyewitness reports and independent hydrological measurements suggest that the dam is indeed being pushed to its limits. For years, scientists and environmentalists have warned that the Three Gorges Dam, while an engineering feat, comes with massive ecological and geological risks. The region surrounding the reservoir is prone to landslides, and excessive rainfall can destabilize slopes, triggering collapses that can cause waves within the reservoir itself. Already, there are reports of landslides along the riverbanks, swallowing homes and entire villages. Local officials are struggling to keep up with the unfolding disaster, and the fear remains that more collapses could occur as rains continue. Combined with the relentless inflow of floodwaters, the situation is one of escalating danger. What makes Typhoon Mitag particularly devastating is its size and persistence. Unlike smaller storms that move quickly, Mitag has slowed as it drifts inland, continuing to dump rainfall measured not in millimeters but in hundreds of millimeters per day. Entire provinces are receiving more rain in a matter of days than they would typically expect in months. With rivers overflowing, dams straining, and flood defenses overwhelmed, China is being reminded of the immense power of natural disasters, forces that even the mightiest government cannot fully control. The words of one resident, posted anonymously online before the message was deleted, capture the mood. They told us the dam would protect us forever. Now we pray it doesn't destroy us. Beyond the immediate flooding and destruction, the economic toll of Typhoon Mitag is expected to be staggering. Already, factories in Zhejiang and Guangdong provinces have been forced to shut down. Major shipping routes along the Yangtze River, critical for transporting goods across the nation, are paralyzed. Agricultural regions are underwater, raising fears of food shortages and price spikes. Insurance companies are bracing for historic claims, and the global supply chain, already under strain from geopolitical tensions, could face further disruptions as Chinese exports slow down. The human toll, however, remains the most harrowing: millions displaced, thousands of homes destroyed, and a rising death toll that may be far higher than official numbers suggest. Amid this chaos, the Chinese government is battling not only the storm itself but also the narrative. Censorship has intensified, with videos of collapsing infrastructure and overwhelmed flood defenses disappearing from social media platforms. State media continues to emphasize the heroism of rescue efforts and the resilience of the nation. But cracks in the official narrative are evident. People in flood-stricken areas are posting pleas for help, highlighting the lack of preparation and the slowness of aid in reaching them. For many, the crisis is not just natural but also political, a test of Beijing's ability to respond to a disaster of this magnitude. The Three Gorges Dam remains the central point of anxiety. International engineers and hydrologists are analyzing satellite images and seismic data for any signs of structural instability. If the dam were to fail, even partially, the devastation would be unimaginable. Tens of millions of people could be directly in harm's way. And the economic damage could ripple across the globe. For now, the dam still holds, but the storm is not yet over. Rain continues to fall, and forecasts suggest that the remnants of Typhoon Mitag will linger for several more days, dumping additional rainfall into an already overflowing system. This disaster has also reignited debates about the wisdom of building such massive infrastructure projects in fragile environments. The Three Gorges Dam has long been controversial, criticized for displacing over 1 million people during its construction and for its potential to cause irreversible ecological damage. Now, as Typhoon Mitag tests its limits, those criticisms feel prophetic. The idea that a single structure could both protect and endanger millions highlights the paradox of humanity's attempts to dominate nature. As night falls over central China, the crisis shows no sign of abating. Rescue teams work around the clock, their headlights and floodlights cutting through the sheets of rain as they search for survivors. Families huddle in temporary shelters, uncertain of whether their homes will still be standing when they return. Across the world, people are glued to updates, watching as one of humanity's greatest engineering achievements is pitted against one of nature's most powerful forces. The outcome remains uncertain, but the fear is palpable. If the Three Gorges Dam cannot withstand this storm, the consequences will reverberate far beyond China's borders. The name, Mitag, will now be etched into the history of disasters. For China, it is not just another typhoon, it is a test of resilience, engineering, and governance. For the millions living in its path, it is a fight for survival. And for the world, it is a reminder that no structure, no matter how colossal, can ever guarantee safety against the unstoppable fury of nature.